How's it going, guys? I'm back with another video, and this time we're going to be talking about scoliosis surgery, and bodybuilding, or just working out, whatever you want, whatever type of training you're doing. But I know about bodybuilding, I know about weight training, so we could talk about that regarding scoliosis. So, what is scoliosis? Well, if you are subscribed or at least watch my main channel, The Brad Rules, you would know about scoliosis surgery. I've talked about it in a couple of videos. I got it back in, I got the surgery back in 2012. I was diagnosed with it. And what is it? It's a curvature in your spine. Some people have the one that like goes this way, and some people have like the S curve. I had the S curve. So it was very unpleasant. I found out that I had it in the year 2000. So, I went to an orthopedic doctor, surgeon, and, I found out that, there's two options. You could get the surgery or you could wear the back brace. So, unfortunately, I had to wear a Milwaukee back brace, and I wore this in eighth grade up until my first year of high school. So high school for me started in 10th grade. So yeah, I had to wear that. Um, Very unpleasant. And it turned out actually I wasn't even wearing it properly because I'm going to show you a photo of what the brace looked like. But basically, there was like two pads, and it matches up exactly like where the curve is. So I had like one pad here, and another pad here, and it goes down to your torso. If you've ever seen anything like it before, you're gonna be a little bit freaked out by it. It looks like almost like a little bit like a torture device or something like that. Um, I forget who it was, but like I remember like somebody like because obviously you wear it like under your clothes. Um, and I remember like I don't remember who it was, but someone once asked me, like as an adult asked me, not in school, somewhere, like he says, oh, I think it was like I went through a metal detector or something like that, and somebody said like, oh, like to my parents, mind you, what was he a bad boy? And I'm like, it's not like they're not making me wear this because as a punishment. It's like actually there to help my spine from curving even further. Because a lot of people don't know this, but when you have really bad curves to the point where you need surgery or you need to wear the brace, your spine could keep curving to the point where it starts to affect your breathing. It'll start to crush your lungs. So, yeah, your curve can really get that bad. So, just gonna tell you guys, like, it's no joke, actually. A lot of people think that scoliosis could be treated with certain types of therapy and stuff like that. No, it can't. There's nothing anyone could do magically with their hands or anything like that. Once you have a bad curve like that, you like once it starts going like into the upper 30s, yeah, your doctor is pretty much gonna refer you to an orthopedic, and they're gonna tell you, like one of those options. So the way now the surgery is, so when I eventually got in 2012, because yeah, I wore the brace and I wore it incorrectly. I used to loosen the pads because it really hurts. It's very tight. It's not comfortable. It's not very pleasant to sit in it. Like your butt is free and everything like that. You still like move around just fine and do everything. But you need to wear that, and you can only really take it off for an hour to do some exercise and shower and stuff like that. Obviously, you take it off the shower. So, I didn't wear it correctly. I was being a teenager, and just and so I found out that I was going to have to get the surgery. The brace wasn't going to be effective anymore. Even if I started wearing it properly, I was at the point of no return. So, I had pretty bad back acne at the time. And I still have like acne prone skin, but I had to go on Accutane, and that's always a bitch to get through your insurance. And eventually, I did end up getting it years later, and my back cleared up. I was able to get the surgery, and you know, it's been good ever since. You know, I'll show you how it looks now. There was a big scar. I showed you the photo at the beginning of the video, but I don't know how visible it is now. Last time I looked, it really depends on the lighting. But this is basically how it looks. You know, you can see. So it's very unsightly, as you can see at the first, but it starts to, like, you know, it starts to heal a little bit, but you always have the scar. So basically, yeah, I've got 2 metal rods in my back. And, you know, before the surgery, it's kind of weird. I started really working out, like maybe just like a year and a half before. And I started making some substantial gains. But then after that, it was time to join the gym. Once I recovered from the scoliosis surgery, which was like a 5-month recovery, I was ready to finally get in the gym and do some serious work. Now, you don't really need to be that careful with working out, to be quite honest. I would be very careful with the way you're bending and stuff like that. One thing I had noticed, and I even did a video about this back on, you know, my other channel years ago, is you probably don't want to do Olympic bar back squats. Yeah, bad idea. Trust me on this one. I even did it in the Smith machine at like about a month into it, because like, oh yeah, I got to squat. I need to work on my legs. I got to squat. I got in maybe like a few sessions of that, and then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, I just like felt something in my upper back, and you would almost think like something in your lower back, but this just felt weird. And then years later, I tried it, in a regular squat rack with a free Olympic bar, and again, I got a little pinch, didn't get hurt, didn't get injured or anything, but I knew it was time to back off. I recommend do any other type of squat. You could do, a V squat. You can do what I do, a hack squat. Basically, use the machines, but I would say keep anything that's going to be loaded onto your back. Then you would almost think like, oh, but what about when you're on the hack squat or when you're on the V squat? Don't those pads dig in? Yeah, but it's not the same thing as having all that weight on your back. I mean, to me, just, I don't know, always, even just with, even if I didn't have scoliosis, I just hate having that bar on my back. Now, of course, give up a lot of the benefits, of having a stronger back by balancing a bar like that on it. So, this is just primarily for people that do have, who are recovered from scoliosis surgery. This is who this video is targeted at, mind you, and just people that want to be educated on it in general. Because, yeah, I mean, back squat is probably a good idea if you didn't have scoliosis surgery or a different kind of back surgery. Because I would imagine any other back surgery, from what I've heard, is the same thing. So, second thing, I've never attempted it, but I would greatly advise to not even try deadlifts. I haven't tried it. And I mean, I think people see, like, I've made some pretty good progress. I have some decent strength. I am able to get a few reps in, of 225 on the bench. I do have a military press, that's pretty reliable, at 135. So, you don't need, there's other movements that you could focus on for strength. You don't need to do the deadlift. I honestly think, I mean, is it a good exercise? Yeah, of course it is. It's been a proven good exercise. There's even been some, there's proof that it even helps, improve the quality and the strength of your back. But the risk reward ratio, especially for someone that has a major back surgery, that yeah, the risk reward ratio is just not there. It's just not there, guys. It's just definitely not worth it. It's not worth it at all. It's not. One little thing is off with a heavy deadlift and you're done, son. You're done. I mean, you're finished. And yeah, there was I used to work at my dad's job. And a guy there did some amateur bodybuilding. Very built, very strong guy, very impressive physique. And he said deadlifts were the biggest mistake that he made. He fucked up his back so badly doing those deadlifts. Because you guys have to understand, yes, everyone will see keep a straight back. If you're getting hurt or injured, it's all about, bad form. Do you realize when you're lifting that heavy, only something has to be off by just a centimeter and you're done? Trust me, I've hurt my shoulder on the bench press. I still bench, as you see, but that's because I made a lot of adjustments and I've become very familiar with that movement. And, you could even see, like, before I even attempt to pick that bar off the pegs, I'm ready for it. I make sure the shoulders are pinned down. I make sure the lats are, really connected to that bench. I make sure I'm nice and level and the shoulders feel good. And I haven't had shoulder pain, knock on wood, in a very long time as a result of a traditional flat back bench press. So, that's a very good thing. But as dangerous as many people talk, that's the funny thing. So many people talk about the dangers of the bench press, but nobody, barely anybody, talks about the dangers of a deadlift. And it's like, that is just insane to me. I think people's priorities of villainizing such a fantastic exercise. I mean, you want to talk about compound lifts, and people are taking the bench. You have a ton of people out there. I don't even know if so many people are aware that they're telling people to bench the bench, like, get rid of the bench press, take it out of your program. I think that's fucking insane. I think if you take the bench press out of your program, yeah, I have to say, yes, there are things you could do in machine press. That's a good, like, simulation of a traditional bench press. But yeah, I don't understand it. People are talking about pec tears and everything. I have never once had my pec hurt me. I felt the burn in my pecs from the bench press. But the only thing that I've ever hurt on a bench press is my shoulder. Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. So that's pretty good, because there's a lot of things that can very easily cause shoulder pain and are not very dangerous movements. So I would take a look at that, that deadlift, and really just look at the reward ratio off of that one. Because I'll tell you something. I've seen a lot of people that they perform the deadlift and they rely very heavily on the deadlift. They're doing a ton of sets on the deadlift. And the physique is just not there a lot of times. It's the same thing with people same thing can be said for the bench press. And I said this in my first video here on this channel. So many people doing the bench press consistently and doing way too much of it. So I don't really get it. There's so many people that I've heard who have hurt their back during the deadlift that I don't see how it doesn't easily outpace the bench press when it comes to that. Now, the only thing I will say that a lot of times what I do get, and maybe it has nothing to do with the scoliosis, surgery, or the fact, that I had it, it's because, let's get it straight. There's still a bit of scoliosis in this back because the surgery that they used to have for scoliosis actually used to correct it 100%. Yeah, like you'd have a perfectly straight spine. But it was very invasive. It still is an invasive surgery, mind you. But they actually, have a new way of doing it where they actually come in from a different angle and they actually just do it 60%. So, if you look at my back and you look at my torso, I mean, let's get a good look at this torso, actually. Like, if you see, let's get this chair out of the way and you could, fully see it. You could see, the belly button, the chest, it's not straight. And when I stand to the side, it actually sometimes may look like I have a weird, scoop in the back, and this almost looks like it's a gut to the untrained eye. I saw people saying that at times, but it's actually not. What it is it's a protruding rib. And that is something, as you can see, this side is good, this side, because, when you look at it, you could see. And you guys should have saw me prior to 2012. That fucking rib was my spine was pushing it out so much. Now, it didn't get put back in. You can if you want, but that may be a cosmetic surgery, so your insurance may not cover it. I'm just going to let you guys know that. So, yeah, that's why. So if you want to know, yeah, wow, Brad looks pretty good, but what's going on with his abdomen over there? That is what it is. And I've tried telling people that it's a protruding rib. It is because the scoliosis unfortunately pushed it out. And yeah, sometimes I feel like it could be sort of fucking with, my abdomen and the way how it looks. So it's unfortunate, but I guess it could be a lot worse. So I'm decently happy with my physique. I always want to look better, but yeah, the protruding rib, I will be honest, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with it, but I do feel a little self-conscious with it, especially from the side. I was posting me doing my bicep curls, obviously very proud of doing, 100 pounds with that set weight, that set barbell, but I was looking at it, I was like, oh, wow, I really hate how it makes my, stomach and my rib pop out like that. It just is not aesthetically pleasing, and that I'm not pleased with. I don't like how that looks at all, so that's the story behind that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but, yeah, that surgery only corrects at 60%, so I don't know how much of an effect that would have had on the rib, but, yeah. The only thing is, I don't know what they would have had to do to the rib. If they would have, how they reposition it, if they would have had to, do something else to it. I really don't know the specifics on it. I'm not really interested in going back and having a major surgery and having recovered just for something like that. Yeah, I don't want to take off from work just to get my rib fixed. So, but it's unfortunate aesthetically. I wish, it would be nicer, to do videos and show you without having to see that. But hey, that's just my body. Body positivity, right, guys? Yeah, right? Yeah. So anyway, if you're planning on having the surgery, obviously you're not really going to have much of a choice. Do it. Don't even second guess it. You'll be fine. You'll do just fine. Trust me. Look at me. I'm fine. I was able to get all this, and be decently happy, So yeah, that's the only thing I ever really get is some lower back pain. uh, from doing certain exercise, really watch your back. Don't do anything fancy. Watch it on the seated rows, I would say, that are not chest supported. Like when you're doing them with the cable, yeah, watch your back on that. And another thing, when you're picking up dumbbells, uh, I would say really if you're gonna go for an incline bench press, I would recommend the Olympic bar. Just do it on that setup or do it on the Smith machine. Because I've had way too many experiences. If you don't pick that up well enough, trust me, the back is still tender. And I'll tell you something, still to this day, when somebody hits me on the back, it still really hurts really badly. So I remember someone hit me like, even after my recovery for the surgery, and that spot was so fucking tender. It still feels very tender. Even when you scratch near it, it still feels very weird. Even when you touch it, there is a certain rubbery weirdness to it. So, just throw that detail in there to prepare you. So yeah, so you can have a really successful bodybuilding career, whatever you want to call it, training career, even if you have scoliosis. So I just want to get that out there so you guys know that you'll be just fine if you're up for the surgery. Go and do it. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have scoliosis? Is it bad enough that you need the surgery? Are you wearing the back brace? I don't know how much people still do that, or if now that they've improved the surgery, maybe now people skip the brace and go right to the surgery. But I'm sure there's still an option there, I would imagine. Let me know down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you next time.